You're listening to Daily Manna Devotionals. Thanks for stopping by. The title of today's devotion is When You Want to Throw a Red Flag on God. Scripture: He who did not spare his own son, but delivered him over for us all, how will he not also with him freely give us all things? Romans chapter 8, verse 32. When an NFL coach is convinced an official made a bad call that went the wrong way, he throws out a red flag. This red flag indicates that the play must be reviewed. The coach believes that the official made a mistake. When we're caught between a rock and a hard place, we want to throw out the red flag on God. We want to stop the game and throw the flag because God seems to have made the wrong call. He apparently missed something. He must not have known what he was doing, because if he did, he wouldn't have made that call. We think, if God had known how this was going to affect me, he wouldn't have allowed that thing to happen. If he had really known the pain this would cause me, he would have made a different decision. We want to reach into our pockets and pull out our red flags and yell, "God, you missed the call. Review it because you're obviously wrong." But that's when we need to remember that God does some of his best work in the dark. Also, he's often the nearest to us when he seems the furthest away. During those times, our faith needs to carry us through because God is waiting to see what we will do. This devotion comes out of A Moment for Your Soul, a devotional by Tony Evans. I like this one a lot because I'm a big fan of football. Go Chiefs! Got the Chiefs hat on. Unfortunately, they got beat yesterday, but we're going into the playoffs with a first round bye and all that, so excited about that. This kind of talks about making the wrong calls and officiating, which of course we see that all the time in the NFL and any sport. We see bad calls, but when it comes to God, he doesn't make bad calls. He's perfect. So it's not him making bad calls. It's us just not having the perspective that God has to see what he's doing. We see the pain and the suffering and the things that are happening to us here in the moment, and we question God's plan and what he's doing. But he sees things from the perspective zoomed way out, where he can see our past, our present, and our future. And he knows that it could be the tiniest thing that somehow ties into something great and amazing down the road. So to me anyway, that's what this makes me think of, is that the times when I've questioned God and when I've been upset with God and I've gone through difficult things and I've found myself saying, "Hey, what are you doing up there, God? Little me down here kind of needs a little help. I don't know what you're doing, but it seems like you're making some mistakes up there." But in reality, he just sees things from a perspective that, yeah, Tim, you might be, for instance, the plumbing thing. If I were to question God, it's not that big of a deal. So honestly, I haven't been, questioning God over a plumbing issue, but it's just something that I've gone through recently, dealing with that. So, using that as an example, I might question God and say, "God, why are you making my plumbing? Why can't it just be fixed? Why can't you just solve it and help me out down here so I don't have to spend a bunch of money and time and try to get this figured out? Just help me out." But from God's perspective, who knows if the person that comes over to work on my plumbing ends up not being a Christian, and maybe I witness to that person and lead him to God. Or perhaps me being kind to him and talking about God and whatnot with him ends up with him going back and talking to some guys at the shop and maybe leading them to start questioning their lives and decisions, and they end up finding Christ in a long roundabout way through a small thing like a plumbing issue that I was questioning God on. So I don't know if that's the best example. I'm kind of just rambling here, but the point I'm trying to make is that God doesn't make wrong calls. The only thing that is going on there is that we don't have his perspective to see the big picture. So thanks for listening. God bless. Have a great day.